In 2011, online sales on Thanksgiving Day were $479 million. And in 2016, these sales reached $1,287 million. Find and interpret the average rate of change. When I say average rate of change, what does that mean? The rate that it's increasing or decreasing. What is another word for that? Think about our lines when we're finding out how much they're increasing or decreasing. What is that called? Slope. So if I'm asking you for average rate of change, I'm asking you to find slope. We know we can find slope if we have two ordered pairs. So we have to read back through our problem and try to write two ordered pairs. 2011, the sales were in 2016 it was alright. So then our slope y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Alright, so now we just subtract and divide. So we get 808 over 5 or 161.6. The biggest thing with these average rate of change problems is I'm going to expect units on this. So for our units, we kind of have to look back to the original problem. If we think about in our ordered pairs, 1,287 and 479. What did those numbers represent? Yeah, those were $1 million. Okay? 2016, 2011, what are those?
Years.
So my slope, we get 161.6 million dollars, so you can either write dollars or put the dollar sign. Division, do you guys remember what word we used for that? Per. And then my denominator was year. So that tells me the sales were increasing by $161.6 million per year.
For per, can't you also do
The slash, yeah. Okay, I'm going to give you guys one. I just drew a graph up here. So the Math Excel, there's several that have graphs. If you have a graph, does it matter which 2 points you pick on the line for your slope? No, no matter which 2 points you pick, slope is the same. So I took a graph out of the book that represents the number of people receiving food stamps in 2 given years. So find your average rate change with a label for me. So average rate of change with a label. Up, I gave you 2 points. Here's the our slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Do that, we get negative 5.7 over 10 or negative 0.57. Okay, but I asked you to include a label on this. So my numerator, 21.9, 27.6, what did those numbers represent? Million. Okay, per my denominator here. So why is this one negative? Yeah, it's going down, it's decreasing every year. Any questions there? All right, last problem of the day. So there's a couple on the Math Excel that give you a graph and ask you some questions related to that. So if I wanted to look at this one, how do we find slope? We can either do 2 points and do the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or we can just count rise over run if we're looking at the graph. But we do need to pick nice points, like ones we can tell for sure. So it looks like -3, 0, and 0, -1, I can tell for sure. So my slope, rise, if I start here, I have to go down 1, over run over 3. So slope is -1/3. Y-intercept, what does that mean? Give me that point as an ordered pair. The x is 0 and the y is -1, so 0, -1. What is an x-intercept? Where it hits the x-axis, so that's at -3, 0. All right, so our equation, I'm asking you to write it as a function. We know f of x is the same thing as writing y. So y equals mx plus b, or f of x equals mx plus b. Our m is -1/3. What's the b? -1. So -1/3 x minus 1. Okay, and zeros. What is another word for 0? What does that mean? Where on the graph? Can you tell me what the 0 would be on the graph? Okay, you're half right. You got the 0, but you had an extra one. A 0 is asking when the graph is equal to 0. So it's basically the x value that makes the graph equal 0. It's another word for x-intercept. Typically when you're writing a 0, you're giving the intercept, but you don't write it as an ordered pair. We just put the x value. So the x-intercept we already said was -3. So if I'm listing it as a 0, I just put the -3. I don't write an ordered pair. So it's -3 is the value of x that makes the function equal 0. All right. So, any questions for me? We have quite a bit of time now. Hopefully internet's working.